Hi, my name is Kyra, and I want to share my story. On December 17th, 2018, I was diagnosed with Pseudotumor Cerebri. Pseudotumor Cerebri is intracranial pressure that causes fluid to back up in your brain, and it acts like a tumor. The symptoms are headache, nausea, dizziness, and you also get ringing in your ears. It's usually one ear, it's not both. For me, it was my right ear. Okay, so I'll go into what happened that day. But before I do that, prior to my diagnosis, I was experiencing a lot of headaches and dizziness. And it actually goes back to my childhood when I was experiencing headaches. Okay, so on that day, December 17th, I woke up that morning and I couldn't see anything. With pseudotumor cerebri, you can experience temporary blindness. And for 2 minutes, I wasn't able to see anything that morning. I stayed calm, and slowly but surely, my vision came back. But because I was in so much pain, I had a lot of pain in my eyes, I decided to go to the eye doctor because I wasn't sure what was wrong. When I got to the eye doctor, she literally told me that everything was fine. She said that my eyes looked great, my vision was well, I was seeing perfectly. But she decided to do one more test. And that test was to dilate my eyes so she could look in the back of my eyes to see the nerves. And when she did that, that's when she discovered that my nerves were swollen. And she's like, your eyes are swollen. And I'm like, it's not like I can pop them out and look at them and be like, oh, you're swollen, baby, let's put you back in. But she immediately told me that this was above her scope of practice and I needed to go to the emergency. So I followed her orders. I called my grandmother that day. I told my grandmother what happened. My grandma said, stay calm. She said, it's probably not as bad as you think. And I took her word for it. I stayed calm. And then I went to the emergency. When I got to the hospital, they ran a couple of tests. And they ran about 2 CAT scans. And that's when they confirmed that I have pseudotumor cerebri. And there was a lot of fluid on my brain. I'm like, oh, all right. So they told me you have 2 options. And those 2 options were either they're going to perform a spinal tap or they're going to send me upstairs and perform an emergency surgery because they needed to take the fluid off my brain that day. And I was informed if they did not get that fluid off my brain, I was actually going to be blind permanently, and there would be no way to reverse that. But God is good because, as you can see, I can see you. All right. So the reason why I wanted to make this video, I wanted to spread awareness for some people who just may not be aware of what pseudotumor cerebri is. Pseudotumor cerebri, the cause of this is unknown. Still to this day, they don't know what causes pseudotumor cerebri. In my case, I had pseudotumor cerebri for a very, very long time. I had pseudotumor cerebri in my childhood. And I honestly don't know how long I've had it, but I know as I continued to grow older, my symptoms started to worsen itself. It always started out as a headache. I mean, in my case, it was just a simple headache that started to, I guess, it got very aggressive, and it went from a headache to eye aches, to dizziness, to memory fog. I would, forget things. And I made it all the way through college with these symptoms and not thinking, that my situation was, severe as it was. So there's a way that you can fix pseudotumor cerebri. However, there's no cure for this, but there's a way where, it can be fixed, where you can live with it. And pseudotumor cerebri, it actually leads you to a brain surgery eventually. So what they do is they will start you out with medication. I was placed on Diamox. It's also used for people who have glaucoma. I was given that, And with given glaucoma, with given Diamax, which is treated for glaucoma, had a moment there. Well, was given Diamax. The side effects are it's not the best. I remember having a lot of like pain in my fingertips, like pins and needles. I would have pinches in my fingers and in my feet. So honestly, I thank God I'm not on that medication anymore. And then the fluid did go down. You know, the medicine helped. It did get the fluid off my brain prior to the spinal taps, because they would have to actually pull the fluid off. For those who don't know what a spinal tap is, honestly, you can compare it to epidural. It's very painful. I don't wish that on anybody. It's a painful procedure. So to make this long story short, I realized that through this journey, I mean, there was a lot to be thankful for, and there was a lot to learn actually. And I also learned through this whole entire journey, do not take your body for granted. If there's something wrong and you have a headache, or if you notice that there's something that just keeps reoccurring, please get it checked out. Don't hesitate. If you have children and your kids are saying, "Mom, I got a headache," you know, don't neglect that, because it could be something. It could be something more than just a headache. For pseudotumor cerebri headaches, the symptoms for that is you get headaches like on the left side. I remember getting a lot of headaches right here on the left side of my head, in the back, and it would feel like pulling and like pinches and like crunchy feelings, like just a strong like pressure. So after being treated with medication, I was informed by my doctors that a surgery will be best for me, to help me with the situation. So what they do is, before they give you a surgery, they need to find out what caused your pseudotumor cerebri, because the cause is unknown, so they don't know exactly what caused it, but they're actually getting much better where they can find out what led to it. So what they will do is they will give you, it's a surgical procedure, so it is surgery, and they will cut you in your groin, and they will travel up through that main vein, and they will take pictures of the brain. They will inject a dye into your head and take pictures of the brain. And with taking those pictures, it will determine what caused, you know, the fluid to build up in your brain. So there's two ways they can treat it. They can treat it with a stent, and they can treat it with a shunt. So in my case, I was given a stent, because the fluid backed up was caused due to my veins being narrow. So I have two narrow veins in the back of my head, and it actually caused me to have a block. So as I got older, those veins got even more narrow, and they were just like, listen, we ain't growing with you. We're gonna stay 5 years old and that's it. Or we're gonna stay 10, or whatever age that started to happen for me. And if you have not a narrow vein and it's just fluid that's just scattered all through the brain, they would give you a shunt. And the shunt, what it is that they will actually shave your head. They will cut like a piece right here, put that device in, and what's connected to it is a catheter that will go behind the ear, travel down to the belly, and all the fluid will drain through the catheter, and you will, urinate it out. In my case, they just gave me an expanding stent, 2 of them actually, and that expanding stent is actually placed underneath my skull in the back of my brain. So I don't have a catheter or anything that's gonna like go to my belly. It's just the stent is going to open up my vein and allow everything to flow naturally. I actually had my surgery 4 months ago. My surgery was August 11th, 2020. And honestly, I am happy that I made that choice to get the surgery, but I'm still in recovery. So I still get headaches every now and then. It's actually almost every day, but it's not as severe as it was prior to the surgery. But the headaches is more like a recovery headache. It does hurt. You know, I do feel like a pull there. I'm not on any medication at this time now. The only medication, well, okay, I lied. The only medication that I am on is a blood thinner, and that's until the brain accepts the stent. That's usually how they treat that, and they also give you a water pill, you know, to help with the fluid. But good thing is I wouldn't be on the water pill as much. But when it comes to the blood thinner, it's also known as a baby aspirin. They give you that. Excuse me. They give you that as well. I would actually have to take a baby aspirin for the rest of my life to prevent, like, you know, stroke, blockage, and things like that. So the whole point of this video, I just wanted to spread awareness. If you have children and, you know, your children are saying, Mom, I have a headache, don't neglect them. You know, go get it checked, you know, take them to the doctor, find out what that headache is, because it could be anything. And, you know, even for yourself, if you're an adult and you notice that you keep getting chronic headaches, do not neglect yourself, because that's where I went wrong. I neglected myself, and with that, with neglecting myself, I could have lost my sight. So I just hope that this video is a blessing to someone. I just want to help somebody, you know, and I'm going to continue my journey, and, you know, maybe I'll post a part 2 to let you know how things are going. But I must say, the surgery was rough. Recovery literally was like a month, because it was August 11th I had the surgery. I didn't start to feel a little better until like maybe the end of September. I was resting a lot, but not able to sleep all the way through the night. Honestly, I still have trouble sleeping now. I find myself wide awake all the time. It's kind of like my brain has so much energy, and I think that's because the block is gone. So now my brain is like, hey, you know, we're operating the right way, let's party. And I think that's what's happening to me. So I always find myself awake. I am actually super alert. I can see much better than I was able to see before, because with all that fluid that I had built up around my eyes, I wasn't able to see on the side, like my peripheral vision. It sucked, actually. But now I can see things, like I can see things on the side. I catch everything, I must say. I don't miss nothing. So, like I said, I just hope this video is helpful to all those who's watching it. If you have questions or you know, just want some advice about it or anything, feel free to share this video. Feel free to comment. I'll be very, very happy to answer questions. And yeah, everybody be blessed. Thank you for watching.